So, as I promised you guys, I'm going to show you my enclosure for my large wolf spider. Key thing with this on the top is we've got air holes so that air can go in and out of the container to keep some ventilation going. I've just got this large container. This is probably bigger than you would even need, but I just used to have this container for other pets, so I turned it into his home. So here we go. As you can see here, I have got, well, one thing about these enclosures, and one thing you want to always do is you want to keep the moisture in there. So I use you want to keep a good amount of moisture in there, so I mist this thing once a day just to make sure the moisture is good. Just kind of spray that in there. It doesn't really like the moisture too much, but he's got to have just a little bit of moisture. And as you can see, this piece of cardboard here is just a little place that he can hide in if he wants to kind of get out of the light. And I've just scattered in here a few different pieces of leaves and little sticks and logs and things, just to make it look a little more natural. I don't know that it's even necessary, but just makes it look a little bit better and gives him a little bit of things to walk on. Right here I've got a daddy long legs that I'm just leaving in there so that he can eat it eventually. It's winter and it's kind of cold right now, so I don't have a lot of options. I'm super cheap. I don't like to have to go buy crickets at the store. So whatever I find that I think he can eat that's not going to hurt him, I just put it in there so that he can get it. I also have underneath all of this dirt, you can see it right here, I've got a layer of like a paper towel just in case it got too wet or moist or something. You can absorb some of the moisture. I'm living in a dry environment right now, so this doesn't have to be too moist, but I like to have just a little bit in there for him. So in here I put different insects and things to feed him. I probably add an insect. I just leave things in there because I know they're not going to hurt him. This type of spider, from what I've researched, only needs to eat a decent sized meal once every other week or so. So I've just been putting things in there so he can eat when he wants to. So let's see if we can get him to come out a little bit. Might be some food hiding under here or something. There's a queen ant I caught out of a wood ant nest. Just put that in here so that he could eat it if he wanted to. Doesn't seem to care too much about it right now. See if he's feeling really jumpy or just kind of doing all right. Get that ant off of there. Have it wander around a little bit. You gonna climb up on top of here? What do you want to do? It's nice to have a decent height on this, that way then he can't get out of here. Don't really want him getting out. With this particular individual, I haven't noticed that he actually seems to like to go under these. Supposedly they might like going under those just because it's a nice place for them to kind of hide or feel concealed. But what I was reading, a lot of the wolf spiders are actually active hunters, so that's probably what this species is, because he just seems to be fine just being wherever. He's not too concerned with being under things all the time, and seems to be all right most of the time. Here's a grasshopper husk that he's fed on. Let's move this into the light a little bit. Get a zoom in on it. When he feeds, he just kind of sucks up all the liquids and leaves a husk behind after. Not much left there. Just absorbed all the liquids from it, and not much left at this point after he's had his way with it. Maybe the daddy longleg will harvest a little bit of the body or get something out of it. That's my hope, is that the daddy longleg will find something to eat in there out of all this, all these rotting things and stuff. Also want to mention temperature, because that can affect things. So I've been keeping the temperature around 65-70 degrees. He probably could do better at 80 degrees, but I'm living in a colder climate, so I'm just kind of keeping the house warm and letting him stay warm with it. So as you can tell, he's a pretty active spider. He seems to always be wanting to wander around and maybe even just come out of the cage. Maybe he's wandering looking for a female, which probably isn't going to happen. If he survives through the winter, I might release him next year, and maybe he'll have a chance of finding one at one point, but it's just probably not going to happen. When I caught him, that was basically just right before winter and the deep cold parts of fall were starting, so he probably wasn't going to find anything in that cold of temperatures that were happening. And as I've said before, he's probably only going to live a few more months. If I'm lucky, he'll make it through the winter. Kind of scaring him there. How are you doing, buddy? So what I'm going to do with him in the future is I'm going to try and stop feeding him for a week, and then try and feed him either by hand or putting him somewhere else. Actually feed him and get it on film, because I'd like to see him attacking something, maybe get some really good zoom in shots on it. One of the cool things I've heard about wolf spiders is that they have their the two main eyes right in front of him. You can see he's got those two main eyes. Supposedly when you shine light on them, so I'm going to just turn on a light here on my phone. When you shine light on them, you can kind of see their eyes will reflect back. The underside of his legs are just beautiful. Whoa, did you see the underside of him? That was really cool looking. Supposedly the underside of the belly is one of the ways you identify these spiders. I could have been wrong on the identification that I came up with, but I mean, look at the underside of those legs. They're like striped. Here he is. Look at the stripes on the underside of his legs. You can see those stripes. You can see it's like underneath his belly is very black in color. It's acting pretty chill right now. Every few seconds I'm seeing that reflection of that light, which is really cool. Even after handling him that last time, I'm still feeling kind of nervous right now. Don't know that I'm that comfortable handling him, but hey, do what you gotta do. If you have any questions, please leave those in the comments. I'd love to hear from you guys. Please like and subscribe to this video, and remember, big adventures start small.